For the month of December, get 25% off your first month or your first year of a membership to the Second Wind Patreon. Supporting independent games media means you get more biting games criticism like this.
The trees. Hi guys, and welcome to DevHeads, the podcast focused on the ins, outs, and goings on of game development with hosts experience ranging from indie, double to AAA. I'm Jay, and if I disappear immediately, it's because the ginormous trees outside my apartment might about to be able to crash into my
They just
building.
started creaking, didn't they,
Wow.
Jay? Like it sounds
They
like
did.
you are...
I like as soon as the DevHeads logo came up, I heard a massive creak.
Oh
So
God! You're not near a window. Oh, you are near a window. Okay.
I am. And also, this tree is huge, so if it comes in this direction, it will smash into us.
That's okay.
So I'm gonna. If I keep looking over there, you guys know. But I'm me, and I'm also joined once again, as always, by Tina and Mikey. How are you guys?
Good. I'm
Weird
sorry.
for you. What's going on?
Eric very helpfully put up a picture of a fallen tree. For those of you who are not familiar with trees and gravity, we have a very helpful visual aid.
Imagine that tree, but 4 times as high. This tree is massive.
That's a pretty.
That's
tall
why it's
tree
like
in the
it's
visual
doing
aid.
this. It's going crazy. All right, I'm okay. But
Sorry.
if I disappear, you guys know why.
Yes. I'm Mikey. I'm AA. Hello. Thank you for joining us. We have a good show today. Tina, go. My giggles are out.
How's Tina? How are you doing, Tina?
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing
Better
an
than me,
asthma
I hope.
thing.
Oh, like ASMR.
I call it asthma.
I
have
like
asthma.
asthma. You have asthma?
Yeah.
I might be having an episode soon.
to take
That
a
fucking
microphone
tree
for it every
comes
day.
through.
All right, let's get this
It's
bitch
the end of the
started.
year.
Hello, everyone in chat. I hope you're well. DevHeads has been absent recently because I was away traveling, so we moved the episode to this date so we could have a final one of the year, which I'm happy about. But what we did miss last week, and we're now talking about it this week, is the Game Awards. The Game Awards has happened. It has transpired, and we have opinions on said transpirings. And all of that.
And that was the best way to
Some
say
things
it.
good,
Yeah.
some things bad, some things questionable. But we've decided that so we don't start off on a big hate boner, that we're going to start with some of the stuff we did like. Mikey likes the term hate boner.
Sorry. I guess I'm just a juvenile. I'm laughing at asthma. I'm laughing at hate boner.
I mean, it's
But
the end of
also
the year. We.
Yeah,
You're just
It's
gonna-
true. That's true.
We're not walking out of 2025. I'm rolling down a big grassy hill. You know that like cheese wheel thing that
Cheese
people
wheels,
do
in England, yeah.
That's
Oh, I know.
That's me.
I know.
Leaving 2025.
So
Down that hill.
some of the things that I want to start with, and I think we all share this, so even though we do have opinions about the Game Awards, I think we can all be in agreement that it's good that it exists in general. Right?
Yeah.
The fact that this award show to celebrate these developers and these hardworking individuals and artists is really, really cool. Whether we agree with some of the awards being given and some of the categories, spoilers for later, it's awesome that these people are being put up on a pedestal and fanned with like ostrich feathers and given gold and anything they want. Because do you guys feel like getting a Game Award actually changes like potentially getting funding and like how the perception, because Oscar winning is a big thing, right? But like, does having a Game Award actually net you any benefits in the industry?
Interesting. Tina shook her head and I nodded my head. Tina, why don't you go first? What makes you say so?
I mean, I think that it has a positive effect overall because you're getting acknowledged for the effort that you've made, right, as a team. I think the difficult part is they only give you like 1 to 3 awards, right, once you win something. So it's not like the whole studio gets home a trophy. It's like the studio gets one and then like 1 or 2 other people from the project get it. So it's kind of like, but it's really heavy. So it feels like a huge.
Yeah,
win.
I've held one, and they are mighty hefty.
Yeah, Apex won best multiplayer. What year
Deserved.
was that? I don't know. I'm gonna reveal.
Do you
my
remember what
age
you were
if I
going up
say.
against?
Back in the day. Oh yeah, it was like Fortnite. It was
2019, Tina. Does that sound right?
I think it was my husband's game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. I think.
Oh,
yeah.
But that was fun coming out with the win over your husband.
It must have been. There was another game that year. Was it a Ubisoft one? I can't recall. But anyways, I was in the audience. I mean, we all were, or most of us were. And then they announced that Apex one, and it felt nice. It felt really nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I shoved my husband like, I fucking beat you.
You've always got the one up.
But like I think it only holds notoriety within certain groups in the industry, right? Like if you try to apply for another job, they're not going to be like, "Oh my god, you guys won an award for this, amazing." They're just like, "Eh." So it's not a big change. You might get more consideration and ease from like your publisher if you have one.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm thinking.
It's not. You're not going to like start a new studio and then just get thrown a ton of cash or anything. At least not in this climate. So
yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I
think we kind of agree. As far as like individual notoriety, I'm not sure if saying like, well, I worked on this game, which one, best sound or whatever. Maybe if you are a sound designer, right? That might come across pretty nicely if people know. But I feel like at that point, the game probably already has enough pull and notoriety that the award is. I mean, at best, it's kind of reinforcing it. I don't know if it does much more.
Yeah.
The other side of it, though, like on the publisher, like finding investment side, yeah, if you worked on a game that won an award, or if you could say like this project I was so and so of took home this award, and you throw that in your pitch deck, that certainly helps, right? That's nice.
Yeah, especially if you're an indie. Like I believe, and I might be wrong, Sabotage Studios that I've spent some time with up in Canada. That's where I held their game award because they won best indie for The Messenger.
Yeah.
And then they released their second game and then won best indie again. So they've released 2 games and have won best indie game twice in a row, I believe. I could be wrong. So like that says a lot about a team, right? Like you've been cooking on 2 projects and they both come away with the biggest award for like your branch of developer, like for indies. That's crazy. But like that's a lot of pressure, right? Like, oh, game 3, but it better be a standout and it better not be sandwiched between other games that are huge contenders as well. Like, because then it's like you're 2 for free, and it's like, oh wow. But it's just that's incredible. That I think that gives me a lot of drive of being like, oh, I would love to work somewhere like that, because it's like these guys are clearly pushing boundaries and like doing things, and it wasn't just a fluke, it's just this consistent thing that they're doing. So that'd be a wonderful place to work.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives, especially when you walk into a lobby with a ton of awards, right? It's it is a good thing to have. Like people want to work for a good team. And I think player count goes up too, right? So I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are playing Expedition 33 now that have never heard of it before.
Yeah, because it's advertisement, right, at the end of the day. And we'll get into some of the pros and cons of the advertisement stuff a little later on, because I have some not so nice opinions on a lot of that. But like to talk about, before we get to like the reveals that we liked, Tina, I know you have a huge space in your heart for what has been dubbed as Flute Guy. You love Flute Guy.
Eric, can you bring him up?
Bring him up.
Oh, he's been
I'm going to try and butcher his name. His name is Pedro.
Yeah.
Estache? I can't pronounce that name.
He had like 4 or 5 different flutes throughout the night. He just had something new every time.
Is that a flute harness or rig on his chest? That's awesome.
He's just
the dude's got load bearing equipment.
He's got like he's holstered another flute.
He's holstered. Yeah,
look at that.
There he is on the.
That rocks.
Such a legend.
He's amazing.
That
yeah.
moment
But
actually that we're showing right now is quite a moment because that's the moment you saw in the finale song where you go, "Oh shit, he has more than one."
Mhm.
Because he whips out this one, and it's an interesting shape and it's unexpected.
It
At least
looks
was
like
for me. I never knew Flute
like
Guy until I
household
saw him.
pipe. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been
it does.
he's
It's
been
like
showing up
PVC.
in a lot of the Game Awards. He's become a bit of a celebrity because I think he was playing. I think it was a couple years ago, and the internet just latched onto him. So I think they're giving him a lot of screen time because the audience really like him, and more power to him. And
Yeah.
I think highlighting this amazing artist and making it. I don't want to say a meme, but it's become a bit of a joke to keep cutting back to him when he's popping his solos off.
It's a
I'm
meme.
like,
I think
this is
I think
great.
it's fair to say it's a
great.
meme. Yeah, but
You
to
know?
be fair, like they
Why not?
didn't. I don't think they overemphasized him. They did cut away to like other musicians too, but you could tell they were leaning Flute Guy a little bit.
Yeah,
Which I
they
get.
have like basically a dedicated camera for him, which I think is great. Like that they can keep cutting back to, and I absolutely love that. And I'm sure people in chat are also super keen on this guy. But another thing for me, the final thing of guests for me that I really liked from this was I'm not really big on the whole celebrity thing. Hey, Miss Piggy, hey, sign
He's
me
your
up.
girl. That's it.
Hey,
That was
puppets, Jim Henson puppets, sign me up. I'm here.
I thought that, or I would think in abstract that would be something that we would describe, as cringy or embarrassing. But actually, when I saw it, I don't know, I thought it was pretty funny. It's cute. It's silly. I think there's just this sort of like cultural acceptance of the cheesiness of Muppets, and also like the jokes are kind of funny, right? The acting is really charismatic. I laughed out loud at some of the interactions with Ralph the dog. And I didn't really expect that, and everybody at the show did. That's kind of I think a Muppet reference actually worked pretty well. But I'm curious what other people thought in the chat here. I see already Muppets are always great. The Muppets are about the only ones who could do jokes with no one being offended. Interesting.
Well,
Okay.
I think it's because Muppets are meant to be funny, right? Like they are comedy characters that have written jokes that are funny and planned out and performed by performers. I think one of the things that falls flat on the comedy side for the Game Awards is when they bring people out who aren't comedians, who aren't funny, and ask them to be funny, or give them a line to say that is meant to be funny. And because of the delivery, it doesn't really land. A lot of devs come out trying to make cracking jokes, and it's like, ooh, yo, don't leave that at home. Sometimes it lands, but sometimes it doesn't, and that might sour the reveal that you're about to spend X amount of dollars on. So, like, maybe steer clear of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. What did you think,
there he
Tina?
is.
Was it
There's a
funny
couple
or
interesting-
cringy?
What? The
The
Muppets?
Muppets.
Yeah.
Muppets.
I know. I think they're cute. They've always been there. Or I mean, always. They were in a bunch of previous VGA shows, so it's sort of like expected. What was funny is that when Jeff was announcing Miss Piggy, he didn't say anything by name or imply that it was going to be the Muppets. It sounded like he was introducing Kojima. He's like, my dear friend.
Yeah, right.
A little bit
That
on
might
the
have been
show.
intentional. Kojima was
Oh,
there.
my God.
Imagine if they
here's
brought out like a
Kojima.
Muppet Kojima. That would have been
A
intense.
Muppet Kojima.
They got to do that. Did you know that
That's
Kojima
fucking
won like Man of the Year from GQ Japan?
Oh, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense. What a picture. Is that from the GQ magazine? Because
so.
that's a really good picture.
Look at
Yeah,
that
they did
fucking
a photo shoot
auteur.
with him and everything. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he is extremely influential.
And
So, I
to
think that
VJ's
makes sense.
credit this year, Kojima didn't win anything. So it's not like the show's
The poor man only
Yeah,
got a
it's
manipulated
nomination.
in
not
his
feeding him
favor.
awards.
Only probably the most well-known designer in video game development.
Yeah. Well, I think it would have been a bit odd if they fed, and we'll get into the actual awards a little later on, but it would have been weird if they fed Kojima like Game of the Year with such a stacked list, because I have my opinions on like who won what awards, but like the lists were stacked with killer games this year. It has been a really good year for games. It's not like last year. I remember when we did some videos on it and stuff, and it's Astrobot winning Game of the Year. Some people were confused. They were like, really? And it's because it wasn't like a crazy year for games, but this one was. So I'm glad Kojima wasn't just fed an award because Jeff.
Yeah, I hear you, obligingly, right? Like you're happy that it didn't feel that way, and that the ones that did win, felt deserving.
Yeah, and like Tina, you mentioned like Kojima posted a picture of him and his team like sadly getting on a plane with sad music.
Almost like a sad trombone, like they're walking away in defeat.
Oh,
like
that's amazing.
I think he has a good sense of humor, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, even though lots of people are winning, there's going to be a bunch of other teams that are losing as well. And as long as you can lose like graciously and not take it like, what was it? I think it was at the Streamer Awards. This guy got nominated for a whole bunch of awards, and every time they were about to announce who won, he stood up and like started getting ready to like go up, and he didn't win a single one of the awards.
Whoa.
So there's like a compilation of him standing up for every single award and having to sit down. It's so stupid. But hey, maybe that was a marketing
line
thing.
of self-awareness. That's true. Maybe he's just like, I don't know, hyperactive personality, excitable, but also maybe it was deliberate, where he's like, oh, people make a compilation of me, and any press is good press.
Oh, it was definitely intentional, because like he's wearing a big fur coat, and when he stands up, he like pops his collar and like struts a little bit, and then has to sit down. It is really funny. So who knows? Maybe it is intentional.
There was a moment like that kind of during the Game Awards this year.
Yeah.
Erika Ishii, I don't know if Eric can find that. She was nominated for best, it was like voice actor.
Yeah.
There was a couple of them, and they showed her on screen, and she was just like chilling, bopping her head, like eating a giant tub of popcorn, like bigger than her body. And then she laughed and she was like, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, because awesome. I think people understood that Jennifer English was probably gonna take this one. And well deserved. And we'll get into that a little later on. But I love it when people are self-aware and they know they know what they're about, and maybe they know they're probably not gonna win. I think I saw this somewhere. The Silksong team, I don't think showed up. Like, I could be wrong, but I read that they didn't show up, and it's probably because they realized they're probably not going to win. And I think the Team Cherry are pretty elusive anyway. But it's like just knowing what's going to go down, and also know that it's not really a competition. It's not about losing. It's just like celebrating. Even getting nominated is a huge thing. Like getting nominated for a BAFTA.
I need to interrupt because the chat is saying that Erica was eating chicken and not popcorn, and I don't know if that's accurate, but that makes it even funnier.
Just chowing down on dinner, dude, during the Game Awards. I mean, that's what a lot of us were doing, right?
Like, that would be amazing.
Let's try to get Eric, zoom enhance. What do we got?
Yeah,
that looks like popcorn to me.
No,
I don't know if you saw the hand going. Go back, Eric. I'm taking a close look for those of you listening.
Okay, while he's doing that, I met Erica years ago through my friend Mo, who worked on Call of Duty and Apex and Titanfall. But it was before she was a voice actor, and I remember her talking to us saying like that's something that she wants to do.
Oh, that's
cool.
And
Mo actually gave her first opportunity on Apex Legends. She played one of our characters, Valkyrie, I believe. Yeah, so it's really nice to see her like sort of flourish.
She's soaring. She's like,
she's extreme. Right. Yeah, like that's awesome because she is really.
Yeah, and her nomination was deserved. She's really great.
Yeah,
that's pop. I'm only laughing because that's popcorn. As you were describing Flora, she was just putting a huge bulge into her mouth.
I'm glad we could confirm that for the chat and our listeners. That's definitely popcorn.
Isn't Mo the one who? Mo is at Wildlight now, I think, right?
Yeah,
and he's the one who scripted the original, the Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 1 mission, All Gillied Up. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple people on that. But yeah, he was one of the guys who like helped finish out that level. Yeah.
And he also did the Titanfall 2 time swap level, which was cool.
Not the time swap.
Sure.
That was Jake
really?
Keating. Mo did the level at the end where you're jumping between platforms, and I think everything's actually moving. Okay, I'm just.
Is that the one where it's in like a factory and all of the platforms are moving and stuff?
Yeah.
No. It's the one when you're on spaceships that are moving.
Oh, okay.
and you're like hopping
Okay.
between them to fight one of the last, I think North
Just
Star.
discussing
Titans.
that Titanfall 2 campaign is so fucking good. It's so good. I'm just describing the levels. It's just taking me back. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so powerful.
No, it's a
Time to replay that.
He's a good dude.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting
Well.
me. Now I know. Now I know.
That's okay. I was in the meat grinder with them, so I fangirled
know?
hard
Yeah.
over all of them.
All Gillied Up is kind of a legend, man. Just that alone would have been
Yeah.
enough to, is
Well,
enough to.
speaking of Titanfall 2 and ex-Titanfall 2 devs, we should get to some reveals. There was one that... Why don't we have it in the list? That's terrible. Tina, you were talking about it because you know a lot of people that worked on this game. The
It's on the
ex-Titanfall 2
list.
devs. Is it on the list? I can't see it on the list. We've got
It's not
lots
in
of
the,
lists
it's not
for
in
the
reveals.
reveals.
I think it was at the end.
Well, we have.
I don't
we
know.
have.
Anyways, yes.
This is a section of stuff that, like, personally.
There we go.
excited us.
Eric's a professional. There we go.
Yeah.
So, the game was revealed from I believe, designers
Yes.
of Titanfall 2.
Apex, Titanfall, COD.
Called High Guard. Well, Eric has put High Ground. Is it High Ground or High Guard, Eric?
It's High
think it's
Guard.
It's High Guard. He's being playful.
Yeah.
He's being a silly man.
Haha. Because Am's going to be talking about Star Wars. See, High Ground. Hey, it all comes together. But like High Guard, it's has not had the hottest
Reception.
reception, which kind of sucks. But then we went through and we watched. I've rewatched the trailer a whole bunch, and a lot of people are comparing it to Concord, which I think is. Half of me thinks, okay, I understand why you're making these comparisons, and also I think just immediately jumping to negativity and lumping it with a historic failure like that from the jump is just kind
I
of
need to just get
disingenuous.
this off my chest. Like, for a game to do so bad that other games in the similar genre are paying for, like, that game's sins is intense. You know, like, I don't even think that a lot of the people that are saying that it's like Concord actually played Concord.
Well, yeah, because most people haven't played Concord. It's just
which is the joke, right? But then they're just like,
Yeah.
it sucks because for a couple of reasons, and this is obviously from the dev perspective, right?
Mhm.
You bust your butt on a game, you're crunching, you're doing whatever it takes to get something in. It's like your first real baby after working on these mega blockbusters. These designers have the pedigree to make a good shooter, like, full stop. That's not up for debate, right? And for people to just see like this, absolutely, or whatever they said, you know, that's disliking the game. Like, that is a little bit crazy to me because, one, like, just get your hands on it and see if you like it.
Give it a chance.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. But I also think that there's a couple reasons why the reveal didn't go so well. First of all, and this is just from my opinion as an outsider now, right? You say from the creators of Titanfall and Apex, both of those games are sci-fi. So in my mind, I'm like, ooh, is this going to be a sci-fi game? Or anything similar, right? Like, I know it's going to be a shooter because of those genres. And then they show this fantasy thing, you know, like the sword.
Yeah, it's a weird mix.
Magic-ish. And, you know, like, when you're looking at the trailer, which Eric is playing right now for us, it's not like any of those heroes. I mean, from my perspective, like, if that guy was in Apex, no one would, like, blink an eye. Right. So it like, you know, hero shooters, like, or even like, oh, is this Overwatch I'm watching? You know, like, I think that a lot of people were comparing it to other games, which, you know, is something that you do when you play a lot of shooters. You compare them to other shooters, which, you know, is invited. But I don't think it helped that it was one of the last reveals from Keeley, and the way he hyped it up sort of backfired, right? I think people were expecting like Life 3,
a new FromSoft game or something like.
Yeah, you know,
huge.
and historically, shooters at award shows never get love. Like,
No.
You know, when Apex won, everyone was just like, something else. You know, like get it off
move
the
on.
stage.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough.
I get the fan response. As much as I think it's disingenuous to immediately compare it to Concord, as in, oh, this is going to fail. I will agree that a lot of the things I was critical of with Concord, I am seeing in this trailer. Like, as you were talking about with the character design and like the like unique selling point of this game. Well, what is it? Is it the fact there are mounts and some parts of the map are destructible? Well, in the FPS space, Battlefield 6 exists, which is all about mounted combat and destructible environments, but on a huger scale. So, like, what are you doing uniquely here? And like the kind of blend between fantasy and sci-fi is kind of interesting, but nothing I saw apart from this big tank thing with people running under it is very cool. There wasn't much I saw where I was like, oh, that is enticing me to want to see more of what they're going to do. And part of that is like, okay, well, like how cooked is this like project in terms of like, is it ready? Are they showing like early stuff, or like when is this slated to come out?
January 26th.
Holy shit.
For free.
Damn soon.
For free.
Yep. I think you're bringing up an
Yikes.
interesting point there, especially Jay. There could be a bit of an expectation of players right now that like they'll be a little involved with the game's production, like a multiplayer FPS's production before it ships, and have an opportunity to give feedback and work with it to see like a grand reveal like this and to not see any clear gameplay. Obviously, that makes people a little bit suspicious. My kind of interpretation of the response is like it makes a lot of sense to me. I don't think that it's fair. Obviously, like people shouldn't judge the game until it's out, and soon they will be able to. But to me, it's just a symbol, not of anything that Wildlight has done or of what Highguard is, but mostly it's just there's hero shooter fatigue, and it's strong. People are very, very tired of hero shooters. And it's not, Concord isn't even like the only example of one that came out and people didn't play it or didn't like it.
There are many.
People are just kind of leery of that art style that feels like a mishmash that just requires beautiful characters that are combinations of fantasy and sci-fi to get smashed together. It's not like anything against the art. It's not anything against the game. It's just people see that style of game, that genre, and they are upset. And I kind of get it, because a lot of these games, a lot of the hero shooters that have come out lately don't really offer too much of a different experience. And just like you're saying, Jay, like when you watch, you go like, well, I mean, they have abilities, they have distinct visual styles, each of them. They each have a theme. There's a tank, and destructibility. It looked pretty limited to destructibility. That's just, I mean, there's nothing crazy there. And the tank just kind of looked like a payload style mode. Like, but we don't know. So maybe if it was going less for cinematics and more for something else, it would have been good. But also, it's a Game Awards trailer, so of course it's going to be cinematic. But I don't know. I would understand people's pessimism so far just because of what the trailer was.
Yeah, even if you like the genre, which I do. I like the hero shooter genre.
Marvel Rivals over here.
Yeah. Also, like I've played a bunch of Overwatch, right? 1 and 2. Like I like the genre. But the question always is, it's kind of like with MMOs. What about this new hero shooter is going to entice me to leave the other one I've been playing for years and invest my time into this? Because a lot of them have like FOMO elements that want to keep you playing, especially if they're free to play. So why would I leave Marvel Rivals? I mean, I don't play that anymore because of fuck those guys. But also, why would I move to another thing? Why would I stop playing Overwatch? Why would I stop playing this MMO to go play another? And there's nothing in this trailer that makes me go, damn, that's cool. I want to play and just try it out because of that thing. Hopefully, if it's coming out so soon, hopefully they reveal a gameplay video of like 20 minutes, uncut, couple matches, show us what you've got, show us the moment-to-moment gameplay to get people interested. Because right now, it's just like, and if you don't do something else to get people like on board, we could see a situation where this just it's dead on arrival. I hope it isn't. I want all games to be good, and I want all games to succeed. But sometimes the writing is on the wall. So hey,
Yeah, I think it's very much a TBD situation. But it's an interesting sort of case study, I guess, in the state of FPS right now, because that negative reception. While I basically agree, like it's a shame, and every game should be good, and like, man, I can't imagine how the team feels, even just looking at a little bit of the negativity. But it is something that we have to like culturally acknowledge, right? For gaming as being something like, you have to be very careful when you're creating promotional material, and you also have to be really careful with like how you release material and how you introduce stuff and how you involve your community. And so far, I get why people are leery and suspicious, but it doesn't mean the game's
100%.
bad, right? We really don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
Nick made a comment in the chat. If you,
Mm-hmm.
I'll read it. He said, "My main issue with the trailer is I don't know what makes it unique. What's the gameplay mode that's going to make it different from what we've played?"
Yeah, and when I saw that, someone in the chat points out it's not a tank; it's a battering ram with treads. Thank you. Let's all refer to it as the battering ram with treads. I suppose.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it was a tank. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry.
We don't
Whoever
know
that
what
was,
it is.
I'm
it's
really
fucking
sorry.
fantasy sci-fi. It's a tall thing. It's wood, maybe magical wood.
Mate, it's
so the
grown.
battering ram with treads. Like I mean, I look at that and I think TF2, right? I think of like Payload or something, Overwatch, whatever. It's I mean, who knows? Other than that, it just seems like everybody's got their abilities. The mounts seem interesting. The map seemed kind of large, like when they were on their mounts. I thought that was cool. But we don't know yet. So maybe that's a bit of a fault of the trailer. It didn't show us the unique selling point. Go ahead, Tina.
I just wanted to share that I do think that you bring up a good point, which I don't believe a lot of people focus on enough, is if you make a shooter, it's a war of attrition against all other shooters that are live service. Like there's just, you got to pull those people. You're not going to pull in a huge swath of, never before played shooter gamers, right? So it's expected that people make comparisons.
Yeah.
And, being free to play definitely helps. Like this game's going to be free in January. So like people can just try it out and see what they think. I mean, I do think it's worth all shooter fans to try out something that's made by the designers of previously highly successful
Getting biased
games.
But
Yeah,
beloved
biased.
FPS games. We were just discussing how great they were.
And
the producers were fantastic, I hear. I'm sorry. I'm fucking with you. Go ahead. Continue.
But yeah, no, I just think it's crazy that like every shooter that comes out, everyone's going to be like, Concord, you guys suck. It's like, come on.
Well, here's the other element. And thank you for saying that, Tina, because I was reminded of this. Also, let's also acknowledge this isn't just like, it's a signal of the times and pessimism around a certain type of genre of FPS. Also, negative shit sells right now, right? For perhaps ever.
I don't think it's right
internet.
now.
So,
I think it's always.
Yeah,
I think that
So
the shooter space specifically in games has like an extremely highly toxic fan base. Like they either like it and just don't say anything online, or they absolutely hate you and are not afraid to share it, publicly.
I think it
On the
depends.
internet.
I feel like it depends. I feel like that might be a little too much of a generalization. It might
well,
even
I mean,
be like
this
a
is
lot
coming
of
from someone who was like a spokesperson for Call of Duty, right?
fucking Call of
like,
Duty, right? Like
everyone's just
I'm
like,
sorry. You probably dealt with a lot of toxic
I
shit.
hate it, and it's like,
But I came from the indie FPS.
your mom
scene
knows what Call of
largely.
Duty is, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like-
And that's bad for you because that means the children of that mom have played it, and those children are children, their brains aren't finished. So of course you're gonna get that.
Their
And maybe I'm
brains aren't
biased toward the indie
finished, oh
FPS
He's
scene.
right.
But like I think it depends. To me, like the if I had to choose like a most toxic community in gaming, it would probably be like the people who play full loot open world PvP style MMOs. That might be those are the toughest kind of gamers to work with as a dev.
MOBA players.
Or MOBA, yeah. Maybe MOBA's probably at the top there, isn't it? But I would put FPS like in the top 5, I guess, top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as someone who like just on the toxicity thing, I'm someone who like dissects design stuff as my full-time job, and I try to be as nuanced as I can with like my opinions and like giving dues where it's needed, and also like criticizing things where it's needed. a lot of the people who come to comment on things are either like diehard fans and you can't say anything negative about this thing or you suck, or the complete opposite. How dare you say anything nice about this thing, right? You suck, right? So for me, I see. But again, it's YouTube comments. Just like you were dealing with the Call of Duty social stuff, you're just dealing with the loudest people, and those people are usually the worst. But yeah, like just before we bounce off of this, Mopman43 gave $4.99. Thank you. It says companies keep copying Overwatch's character-focused marketing, but missed that Blizzard did it really, really well with 110% effort. Yeah, and I think one of the things is like Overwatch 1 and 2 were the standouts in this genre for the longest time, and what it took to break through and bring another contender in was a huge IP with Marvel, which is a way to get people in the door because they want to play as their favorite characters. They want to see them. So that's how you get people in. And also, I stand by that as much as I fuck those guys. It's an impeccably designed game. Absolutely, like the character design is amazing.
For people that don't understand,
fuck the guys who didn't do the design. Like I happen to know one of the designers, and they were damn proud of that. They did a great job with the team ups and stuff. I think it's specifying when you say fuck those guys that you mean.
Oh yeah, fuck those guys because they fired all of their American staff, and that game's dead to me now.
Okay.
So I don't want to play anymore.
I was curious about.
Fuck the hires up who decide to fire those people. Fuck those guys.
I did want to go back a little bit. I mean, not a little bit. I do want to go back to the High Guard reveal. So their game's coming out in January. Marathon comes out March 2026. If it's not delayed. And then you have the new GTA. You have another COD, and you have what else? There's other shooters coming out, and then there's always Fortnite with their crazy updates. So it's like they had this really small window to reveal the game and get it out. Like, do you go and reveal your game at the VGAs, or do you just do it live and put the game up and hope people run with it?
My question is, if it's coming out in 4 weeks after the reveal, why not just
7? But yeah,
7 weeks. Okay,
7
actually. Well, why not punch it and have the reveal and be like, it's out now, so people can play it?
Maybe it's not ready.
I mean, that's what we
maybe
did
those
on
leaks
Apex.
They need those 7
they
weeks.
were trying that too.
They might. Like we don't know. I mean, here's my thinking. Just like Tina said, like Apex. I don't want to say pioneered it because not many people have done that since then, and they weren't the first necessarily. But Apex really prominently did that, and it's the same team. I gotta imagine the idea was on their minds is saying like, "Hey, this kind of worked before."
We could do
my
this,
guess is because it's so close. They said like we kind of have to take the extra time, but it could be a marketing strategy thing. You know, like maybe we're going to see some gameplay really soon. Maybe we're going to see some other materials. I doubt there's going to be a beta or anything, which is concerning.
They have a publisher?
Of course.
I don't even know if they revealed a publisher in the trailer.
I don't think so.
They did.
Let's look them
Maybe
up.
they're self-publishing. I have no idea.
Yeah,
probably are.
I do know Jeff Keighley historically has a history with this team, right? Like he covered the IW to Respawn move. He did like an in-depth thing on the Respawn team before Titanfall was released. So I think he is truly a fan of their work.
I'm a fan of their work. I think it's
me too.
They've done fantastic stuff.
Titanfall.
I just need to get off my chest. I do think it's kind of insane that like the peak game designer of this franchise is getting hate online for a trailer before the game is played, and I just need to say how insane that sounds to me on paper.
We get it, man.
Yeah,
we get it. Yeah, because it's like, well, hold on. Like, I did design a game. A team designed a game. Obviously, we established our competency with Titanfall to Apex Legends. So why don't you just like wait a few weeks? I get that. I get that sort of indignation that you're describing. I just think that we also have to. The only perspective I'm trying to throw out there is like we have to acknowledge that it's not a personable thing, right? It almost doesn't matter to players because to them they're only judging what's right in front of them, and we always just have to accept that.
Which is all you can do with a trailer, and I think
exactly
that's fine. And I also think that if people do have, and I do think there's valid criticism out there, right? If you're complaining about like the character design or the art or whatever, like maybe they can revisit that at some point and learn from this moving forward. I don't know. I just think to say like the shooter itself will be bad, like you guys, I'm pretty sure the gameplay will be good.
Yeah, the
Because these
gameplay is going to
guys
be solid.
know shooter gameplay. Everything else aside, you know, I'm sure is up for debate. But again, like it's pretty. I mean, I think people just love to hate, and I think that's
It's an easy point of comparison. It's just it's so easy to do, so people are just jumping on it. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it will be.
If they have like MTX, that's like $500 for this one skin. I'm gonna be like, get out of here, But I don't know.
Tina flips off the Wildlight developers in an angry
Ooh,
rage.
Clip it out.
Clip it.
Oh, shut up.
Clip it. Clip that.
I hate working with you guys, etc. Let's talk about Resident Evil. Let's talk about something that actually got like the opposite of hate.
Fuzzy ears, yeah.
Fuzzy ears. Resident Evil Requiem. I'm personally excited for. I talk on all the time about the I don't know. I'm basically a fanboy and didn't realize it until a few years ago about Resident Evil. Jay, you and I were talking about how it makes a ton of sense to just go, well, hold on, like we do action horror pretty well, but we also do horror well. Why not both? And they've already kind of been doing that anyway. Like look at Village and the way it played, right? With Chris Redfield's like balls to the wall, fucking operator action, and then Ethan. I mean, even Ethan's segments were like pretty action oriented.
Yeah. They were campy
like
for sure,
right? And they were campy too. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that. I would love to see how they're going to integrate those things. I'm very curious how they're going to innovate on what I assume will be a lot like Resident Evil 4 remake combat, which is the third-person camera shooting movement, transitioning into melee moves. So far, it seems like the innovations are A, Leon can use a chainsaw, and B, Leon can shoot people in an animation while he's close to them. So that might be interesting.
Yeah, like because what Mikey's referring to is that at the VGAs they announced that in Resident Evil Requiem the campaign will be split between our female protagonist. I'm sorry, I don't know her name, and the
Grace,
returning character.
Gender
Leon.
erasure. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I don't know their name. They're new. They're not like a returning character, right? I
It's Grace. Actually, Jay. Actually, I'm going to push up my Resident Evil nerd glasses. She's the daughter of a journalist from Resident Evil Outbreak from PlayStation 2, which was like the first multiplayer Resident Evil game that was like survival horror multiplayer. From like, wait, hold on. What year did Resident?
She's my dad's cousin's friend's backyard.
Which I think is worth
friend.
noting, because let's appreciate for a second that a PlayStation 2 game from 2004 and the lore behind that, like basically it was just a multiplayer character, is relevant right now, years later in the series. I think that's pretty cool.
I think Resident Evil is just great in general, and from segueing from what you were saying, I think it's really cool that they're saying that the Leon one is going to be a little bit more action focused and the Grace one is going to be more survival horror focused. Especially if those sections intertwine rather than just being two separate things. Like I think that could be really interesting because I think I saw in the trailer we got a demo recently where you got to play as Grace being stalked by this huge monster in a house. In the trailer, it seemed like Leon saves her from that situation. So maybe that's when you start playing as Leon and like things like move and bob and weave. And I'm like, that could be really cool. But I also think there's value in separating them completely just in case you're not really into the action stuff and you just want to do the survival stuff. But yeah, it's a new thing for them. And I think anything where devs are trying something out a little differently, trying to push the bar, I'm there for it, right?
I'm
still scared of Resident Evil, so when I saw that, I thought of you guys, and I was like, oh.
Did you really feel? Oh,
Yeah.
Pina, you have to realize something. Your fear of horror games is actually a precious, beautiful thing, right? Because as a gamer, you might play a lot of horror games. You just get so fucking numb to it, like nothing.
Desensitized to it.
Stuns you. You're desensitized.
I mean, I do
but
think
not you.
that once you're playing.
No, I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's a positive thing.
Yeah,
Why
it's
you
a
tell
really
me to
cool
shut
thing.
Up?
Ghost.
Tina's fucking cracking up. Tina, look out! Don't look on the screen right now. Eric put up something very scary. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that you enjoy horror games like that. I have another friend who's like that, and yeah, I mean, she embraces it.
Speakeasy in the chat said that Grace's mom is one of the few survivors of the Raccoon City incident.
Right.
Wow.
And I think she gets. That's what I'm talking about, because Resident Evil Outbreak, I think, was about Raccoon City.
Hey, okay, I have an idea for the devs. What if someone mated with one of these zombies and had a kid, and that's one of the characters?
That's the plot of 28 years later.
Is it?
I
I didn't watch it because it's scary.
I feel like Resident Evil either has done that, Tina, or inevitably will. I feel like
Someone
mating
said,
with a zombie.
"Ew, dude," in the chat.
It's gross. The thing you've described is gross, Tina, but I feel like it's gonna come because it's gross and it's interesting, and Resident Evil is all about fucking supernatural shit happening in different forms. We already had a zombie baby, right? In
Look,
fucking
love knows
Village.
no barriers, guys.
Don't look at the screen right now, Tina.
We got to
Is that
rip
something
into
you
a bunch of those in what is it? There's like the orphanage nursery in Dead Space 2, I think. There's like a bunch of little zombie babies.
The new Dawn of the Dead, I think, has a zombie baby really, really briefly from like 2004 or something. I can't remember.
Damn.
Yeah. But I'm happy about Resident Evil personally. I think it'll be cool. I don't know how innovative it's going to be, but it's certainly good audio visually. It's going to be really awesome, and the atmosphere is going to be good. It seems very solid. And Leon Kennedy is what an interesting career for that guy. What was he? He was a cop for one day, and then he became like a super federal agent spy.
He became like a protector of the president's daughter.
Yeah, and he protected the president's daughter. Doesn't he kill the president, who is a zombie in Resident Evil 6? Am I misremembering that? Someone please correct me.
I only got like halfway into Leon's campaign.
It was a fucking riot.
Just him shouting like, Helena! That game is a mistake.
Yeah, okay. People are
Resi
confirming. So part of his career is he kills the president of the United States, who turned into a zombie before he was killed. But then also, like, I guess in this timeline, he does the Resident Evil 4 shit, and now like they gave him a big revolver, and they taught him combat with chainsaws, and like now he's like going. Stuff. I don't know what his job is right now. Why is he looking for this cop in Requiem? Shouldn't he retire at this point?
Why are his ears so hairy? These are the questions.
Also, why are his ears so hairy?
We'll never know.
Wait, I love this theory. Wait. I Am Mandroid says, I think the entire series is a dream of Leon's first day. Yeah, dude, he got to work in Raccoon City the first day, and he just fucking fell asleep at his desk because he was so bored. He was regretting life, and he was thinking, fuck, why did I do this? And everything that happened afterward was just a big fantasy. He's just asleep at his desk. I love that.
Too Many Frogs says, Leon is the man with a big iron on his hip. Nah, he's the big man with the big hairs on his ears.
Big hairs.
I don't know why I'm hung up on this hairy ears thing.
Let's talk about the hairy. Let's address the hairy ears before we move on.
Okay. They posted a picture, like a high-res picture of the 3D model and of Leon, and he has hairy ears, and a bunch of people on Twitter are like losing their minds, saying it's really ugly, not really realizing that as men get older, you get like peach fuzzy hairy ears. That's just, you gotta get it trimmed, and he ain't got that shit trimmed recently. He's too busy killing zombies. Leave him be.
Let's give him some
his hairy
credit,
ears.
Man. He's got to save grace. He's got to look tough and cool. He has to shop for tasteful jackets. He doesn't have time to fucking.
He's got to holster his big iron on his hip.
How are your ears, Jay? I'm checking mine right now.
I trimmed mine recently. I have one on my left that it's like, do you ever have a hair that grows twice as fast as everything else? There's one, he keeps reaching. I think he's trying to pat me on the shoulder or something.
Tina, don't you do that to us. Don't you body shame Jay.
Oh, I don't have hairy ears. Hair. Yeah, get fucked, Tina. All right, moving on.
Say anything.
Speaking of not having hairy ears.
Wow,
Control. Resonant.
Control.
Hey, check out them hairy ears. I told you.
Wait, show it again, Eric. I didn't see
yeah.
Oh,
they are pretty hairy. But also like the light's going right on his ears, so of course we're gonna see a lot.
He's
of
got
hair.
edge lighting on them.
I like to think the character
puppies.
artist is they're leaning back in their
Hire
chair.
that artist. Day one.
He or she,
Next to
this artist, this person is leaning back in their chair, and they're like, "Fuck, Leon's. I made him older, but he's still too hot. How can I make him look older? Oh, I'll just kind of overdo it on the ear hair." And they just fucking wrote them all out with their style.
I think
theory.
it's really, really good. They've always had really good 3D models. That genuinely might be the best ear and ear hair I've ever seen in the game.
Yeah.
There's no way
Boy
that
Beeman
detail
says-
is in the game itself.
Oh no, fuck no.
This is a high res.
No, they've got ear hair LODs. It's all like billboarded like fuzz. Yeah, they're like huge.
What if they didn't do the loss? Someone's like, "Man, game's running like shit. I'm getting like 40 frames. Hold on, did we LOD the ear hairs? Oh, I forgot to because
Running like shit. What is it?
These
Well,
ear
we're full rendering them ear hair at like while he's a mile away in a cutscene. What are we doing?
You've got all this fucking pop in of everything but the hair. Like there's just this silhouette of a man's ear hairs running around.
Minda says
holding
ear
a
hair
revolver.
physics. Yeah, it wafts in the breeze.
Okay.
Halfway
maybe
through,
that's
gets
normal.
scorched off.
I don't know what normal ear hair. I'm a hairy guy, being Greek and everything. But I don't know like the normal amount. That looked like a bunch to me. It's probably just the lighting making it look more, or my own ignorance.
Yeah,
about ear hair.
100%. I genuinely don't care, but I just thought it was funny. I'm trying to segue to something else I don't care about in this game list.
Oh, Forest 3. Forest 3 looks cool, and No Law looks cool, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
those
what's
games
Forest
just-
3?
I remember
It's a
Sunset
sequel to Forest 2.
Forest.
I know, like I didn't even know there was a 1 and 2. What is this?
Survival
Am I
horror
the
game.
asshole? I'm
Survival
sorry.
horror
You're not
stuff.
an asshole.
Okay.
You just don't like survival crafting games. Yeah, survival horror, survival crafting. It's something that would scare you. But it's I mean, it's a good game. I think it was a good idea for them to change the environment up. Right now, we're in a sort of sci-fi environment. It looks like the forest you're on is not on this earth, right? And there's some that allows them to get real fucking freaky.
I will
with some
say
of the
when
body
I first
horror.
saw the first part of this trailer, I thought it was that marketing advertisement game from Naughty Dog. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yep. I know what you
Why are
mean.
you looking
yeah.
at me like that, Jay? You know,
Because I don't know what you're on about. Just like you don't know what Forest 3 is, I don't know what you're on about.
She's basically saying,
Am
that
I the asshole
initially
now?
she
Am
saw
I the
a per-
asshole?
She was watching the Game Awards, and you saw a person in a spaceship, and she confused it with another game of a person on a spaceship.
With a person as
Yes.
well.
One that Naughty
When-
Dog's
is this
made.
No Man's
That's
Skies?
Don't make fun of Tina now.
No Man's Skies is the sequel to No Man's Sky.
It's multiple
Plural.
skies.
There's multiple skies. Other things that were revealed. I'm going to speed through the rest because we've got 2 more topics to touch on. The other reveals were a bunch of Tomb Raider games that were revealed at the same time.
No. Read it
interestingly.
the way you wrote it in the article or in the document.
I didn't write it. I'll read them through like I did.
No. Yeah.
From top to bottom. Oh, Tomb Raiders, plural.
Yes.
Tomb Raiders.
I
Plural.
just
2
made a
Tomb
No Man's
Raiders.
Skies Raiders
Multiple tombs.
plural joke. What is it with me and the plural joke?
Tina, they're gonna call us unoriginal. We can't keep digging from the same hole.
Yeah. Oh, well, they've
Tomb
revealed
Raiders.
two. They seem to be a little bit more old schooly, which is cool.
Could you
I'm
tell
here for
it
it.
was 2 games from the trailer until
Fuck
the
no.
very end? Yeah. That was interesting.
Fuck no. What was the story you had, Mikey? Because you were there, right?
I was there. Well, I wasn't at the Game Awards specifically, to be clear.
You were near
but
them.
There's this hotel. The Hotel
It was
Marriott
adjacent.
right next.
Yeah.
Is adjacent, right? It's right next to there, and everybody goes there during and after the Game Awards, right? So you go there afterward. You see like Todd Howard. You see all the people that were going up on stage, but you also just see industry folks, and they're schmoozing and they're talking, and it's fun. But I actually know somebody who worked on the Tomb Raiders trailers, and they asked me the same question of like, is it clear that it's 2 different games? And I said, not really, but I was watching it on a screen way far away while we were like eating and having drinks and stuff, so it wasn't like super 100% clear to begin with. But I think they make it very clear at the end, and they made it as clear as was possible for the decision to show them back to back, because they do show a logo. They say a release year, fades to black, and then it comes back in. And at the end of the second one, they show them right there, 2026, this Tomb Raider, 2027, this Tomb Raider. So, I mean, they did the best they could.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a big ask to do 2 reveals at the same time. Speaking of 2 reveals at the same time, I'm the king of segues today. 2 Star Wars games got revealed.
Star Wars.
My
waist got terrified when they released or revealed the Fate of the Old Republic, because when I played SWTOR, I gained like 8 pounds.
I love it. So you're like, oh no, you can feel it. You're like, oh, these pants are getting a bit tight.
I was like, ah.
Well, yeah. So, Fate of the Old Republic, Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic has been revealed, which looks interesting. A nice pre-rendered cutscene trailer. But I've heard rumors on the Vine of the Grape that team has only recently formed within the last year. So this game ain't coming out anytime soon, if at all.
No in-game footage, right?
No. So yeah, this is cool, but please, everyone, temper your expectations, because how many amazing pre-rendered cutscene Star Wars games have we had announced that have never seen the light of day?
And I think you hit the nail on the head there, Jay.
Just throw out
you
more.
will.
Even ones that aren't even like in development. I just want to indulge in the fun.
I get it. I think people are already skeptical about any pre-rendered cutscene reveal or trailer. We've been that way for years as gamers, but this one is especially higher degree of skepticism because it just keeps on not working out. So we'll see.
Well,
whatever.
I will say, for anyone watching this, being a developer on a Star Wars game is not easy, because there's an extra level of approvals that you have to go through
back and forth,
that are not in your control to fight at all. Right? So like the way you make an AT-AT walk is AT-AT? AT-AT, right?
I say AT-AT.
So,
as an animator, you're animating this robot. If you get anything off in terms of like Star Wars lore, they're going to throw it back and say like, go fix it again. I don't care if you have to crunch. I don't care about your schedule. You got to do this right.
Yeah.
Right? Like it is such a controlled IP that it's hard to put in any sort of creativity that they're going to accept. Like there's an approval process above like just your boss or the executives at your publisher. There is like Disney.
Yeah, they have approvals that they need to get through. The people above you. Yeah.
They will punch you through the throat. Not care about
through it.
Like through it. They don't care how long it takes for you to get your job done. They're just like, it's unacceptable. Deal with it. And
you're like, how do you like this walk animation? And you lose your trachea. Like,
it's just not easy, okay? And look, you make something, you send it off to Disney, and you gotta wait like 8 fucking weeks for them to be like thumbs up or like that's dog shit, and you're like, oh, thank you.
Your throat ripped out.
Overlord.
Yeah, there's no in between.
There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad anecdotes about that happening in gaming. There's one that I heard from a Star Trek game dev years ago, where like he was talking about how he wanted to write in a character who had an American, or like a typically American, let's say white American, Euro-American first name, but then an Asian last name. And the exec on Star Trek said, that doesn't make any sense. If he's an Asian, he's got to have an Asian first name and an Asian last name.
Yeah, it's got to be called something like Cho Chang.
This is in the context of Star Trek Voyager being on, which had a main character called Harry Kim, right? So in those situations, like I've been fortunate enough where like I haven't had to work with any other owned IPs except Black Mesa, I guess, but there was no interference there as far as I know. But you do end up getting into these meetings with people who are just like a little bit detached despite their, the knowledge they're supposed to have about the franchise, and they end up saying shit like that.
Yeah, it just puts a lot of more roadblocks up. Speaking of roadblocks,
before you go on, I just need to like clear my name with any Disney executive that's watching this right now, right? Like, I do think that Star Wars has garnered the respect to say, we love our franchise, we love our IP, we're going to protect it as much as possible, and you need to respect that.
Yeah,
and I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, go.
Yeah, I'll hit that tennis ball back by saying, fuck you, Disney. You're all scum. But next to the next Disney product, Star Wars Galactic Racers is coming out. I'm actually excited about this. I love racing games.
I can't. I'm gonna like not make it through.
Tina,
this
what's going on?
episode without laughing.
What's happened?
but
What's funny? What funny thing happened?
It's because it's Galactic Racers, dude. We get to go brum brums in space. With the
Is pod
cars.
racing funny to you, Tina? The great sound.
Hey, best sound design ever. Pod
Do
racing
it
scene.
for her again. Let's see if we can break Tina.
It wasn't that what she found funny. It was me telling Disney to go get fucked. I'm trying to do segues and they're not working. I was going to say, speaking of getting fucked, but that doesn't segue to anything. Control Resonant is coming out. Isn't that cool? Control was fun. I liked Control.
Remedy.
Yeah,
all praise to
it's cool.
Remedy. Let's see what they do. Tina.
Yeah. Okay. Before the games were revealed, it's really cool. I love it when games are shown off. I also hate it when games are shown off. And I'm gonna read out some donos before we go on to our second topic,
Okay.
which is Claire Obscure. So buckle up. Sovereign 46 gives €20. Thank you so much. There's that. Damn, they're getting pulled away. But I'll watch the VOD later. Just want to say I really enjoyed watching Dev Heads this year. Scroll away. Very interesting to see things from the dev perspective. Hope to see you again in the new year. Cheers. Hell yeah. I like to say hope just in case any of us die.
All right, I'm okay.
That's very realistic of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. And everyone else who's here hanging out and has been listening to Dev Heads. Really appreciate you guys. We do this for you. Far too many frogs.
Giggles aside, thank you very much. Yes, very nice.
No, giggles to the front. $2. Tina, your laughter is contagious. Have money. Keep laughing, Tina.
Keep laughing.
We can
Tina.
fund the next year of Dev Heads. Keep going.
Oh my god.
Miss Harmony 199 says, "Is Tina any relation to Captain Bucky O'Hara?"
What?
Hey.
Who's Bucky? Oh, you
Star
mean the
Trek.
guy
It's your
from?
last name, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
No relation.
Wait, can I look him up?
she
Can we
said.
look him up? Eric, can I
You
see
don't
a
know
photo of
Bucky
Eric,
Bucky
you
O'Hara?
made-
I know
mid
Bucky
look up.
O'Hara.
Oh, Bucky O'Hare or
Oh,
Bucky
what the fuck am
O'Hara?
I saying? Oh, Bucky O'Hare. I'm sorry. I was thinking of fucking Bucky from the Marvel
What
movies.
the hell is this game?
That's
How
Bucky
old is
Barnes,
this?
dude.
Bucky Barnes. But he said Captain Bucky O'Hara. Is this from Jazz Jackrabbit? This looks like a Jazz Jackrabbit film.
What the fuck
It's a
is happening
comic
right
book.
now?
Sorry, we're just getting off topic.
Miss
That's
Harmony,
okay. I mean,
you've
there's
derailed
somebody-
us.
Oh, it's a Konami game too from 1992. All
It looks a
right.
lot like Jazz Jackrabbit, who is also a green rabbit.
Yeah, that is true.
I hope that's not prejudiced of me. I'm not saying all green rabbits look the same. Okay, I'm just saying
It does sound like it does sound like that's what you're saying.
Wow,
I'm
Tina,
not saying
you
all
look
green
good.
rabbits look the same, but all these green rabbits very similar.
It's racist.
Absolute
It's
racist.
just two green rabbits in the same cartoon art style look similar.
Yeah. Oh, Tina's become a rabbit. That's cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Now Tina,
Say
does
something a
not
rabbit
look
would
like-
say, Tina. Say something a rabbit would say.
Is that a rabbit would say? Like in real life?
All right, this joke's taking too long. I'm moving on.
Sorry.
Uh,
I just didn't want to indulge you.
Topic number 2 of 3. It's been an hour. Over an hour. Topic number 2 of 3. Claire Obscure. A wonderful game, which I've played this year and thoroughly enjoyed. Won one of my personal awards for Best Design Combat of the Year. Really, really good game. Man, it sweeped the Game Awards. Would you guys like me to go through the list of things it won?
Yes.
Hear it. Let's hear it, Jay.
'Cause I have not
I'm going to
played this
go.
game.
I've got them in a list, and I'm going to go
And I will.
in reverse.
I promise, listeners.
It won Game of the Year. Just in general, Game of the Year, it won. And to be honest, I agree. I think overall it was Game of the Year. Out of the ones that were presented, it was the best one. It won Best Game Direction. Wow. They directed that straight to the Game Awards, and they won.
Cool.
Next, Best Narrative.
Go on, Jay. We're here.
Just
We're
waiting, for
listening.
just waiting for an anecdote. Best narrative. Hell yes. Deserved this tenfold. 100%.
It's okay. So
Now
you
we're
played,
getting
you
into
played through
muddy
this game.
waters.
Okay.
Wait, I didn't skip Control. We showed Control. Lost Control? No. Okay, I'm going to stop reading. Next, it won Best RPG. Interesting. Mikey,
Well,
say it. Say the
yeah.
line.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is where I would interject. Look, so for transparency, I haven't played Clair Obscur. I'm very appreciative of what that team has done. Watching them accept the award and like hearing them interact with each other, seeing their ages and stuff, kind of made me feel a little nostalgic, to be honest with you. Because when I worked on Sandstorm, which is one of the games I'm very proud of in my career, it was a team of like roughly 30 for a large majority of the development. It was time that I spent in Europe developing. I wasn't in France, I was in the Netherlands. I started to get these feelings of like appreciation and admiration for a team that like won and were successful and did a beautiful thing, and they had a lot of spirit de corps. They believed. I mean, look at them all hugging there. That's great. But all that
You know
being
who they
said-
are because they're dressed like French people.
French.
Yeah, that's right, Tina. You know that they're French because they're dressed Frenchly.
The characters in the game also
that's
just like
accurate.
there's skins that get that as well.
It's
so.
yeah. So the point I'm saying there is like all of that is valid and true, and like I have affection for the team and appreciation for the team. And they were, by the way, they were at the Marriott and they were talking to people. They were talking to everybody, and they were being very generous. They were being very lively, and they're artists, man. They love their craft and they love sharing it. It was very nice. But I gotta say, man, I think it's too many awards already, Jay, and you're only already partially through the list. The award system works this way, apparently, according to the website. 90% judges, who I assume are like journalists and such, and 10% player voting. One of the nice things about award shows is you lift up projects and say and give them a moment on the stage and speak and say thank you and show appreciation. This sort of like overemphasis on Clair Obscur's achievements, especially in this category you just mentioned, the RPG one, means that we miss an opportunity to talk about the appreciation we should have for another game, which I think in this case is Kingdom Come 2. Those fuckers did such a goddamn good job with that game. It is innovative. It is beautiful. The soundtrack is excellent. The breadth and like the width of that narrative is excellent.
The scale, the
mechanical
systems,
depth of the game, the scales.
insane.
Yeah, it's excellent. And for them to only walk away with domination, I can't. That doesn't sit well with me, man. And like I can appreciate the team Clair Obscur and feel that they did a good job, but also have this feeling, I think, and it's just a bit of a damn shame because I feel like there's also not really a lot of Czech games, I think, that get a lot of attention in the mainstream. One of the things said, I think, by the person who awarded the Game of the Year award, who might be French himself because he spoke French when he gave Game of the Year to Clair Obscur, was how international game development is. And they're right. And it's true. It's one of the beautiful things about this industry. But then to see that, and then to see all of the awards, or so many of the awards, go to this one team in this one country, and to see an underrepresented country in video game development, like Czechia, like the Czech Republic, not get anything. I mean, as far as I know, that really sucks, man. So it was a shame to not see at least a little bit of recognition for such a beautiful game that everybody agrees is good. And I think it also speaks a little bit to the short attention spans of gamers, because Kingdom Come came out in February, and maybe that was just too long ago for a lot of people, which really sucks.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with all of that. Next one, number 5, is Best Music. It won Best Soundtrack, which I agree with. I gave my awards. It was kind of a joint award between this, Silk Song, and Hades 2. I think they will have incredible soundtracks, and I think it was deserved. It was a really, really, really good soundtrack. So no qualms there. Now,
Okay, can we just talk about how
yeah.
they won that award? Because it just made me laugh so hard. So Lenny Kravitz goes on stage and is like, yo, I'm part of the new 007 game or whatever. He does his marketing spiel. Like, this is why I'm here. Like, he clearly does not care about games.
Celeb guests.
And then he reads the award, right? And mentions that Clair Obscur won. And like 2 people get on stage, and like from my perspective, I don't know if they knew who he really was. So they were just kind of like, fuck are you
Yeah.
doing? They grab their award and they're like, okay, thank you. And it was just like the funniest disconnect that I saw. I don't know.
That's
Here.
a
Eric's
big,
playing it right now. Watch.
Yeah.
They're going on stage and they're not like starstruck or anything by Lenny at all, which is kind of funny. They're just like,
Well,
thanks.
I hear what you mean, Tina, but like we don't know what's going through their heads, man. They're probably just incredibly nervous and stunned.
Shitting
Right?
themselves,
Like, it
yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean.
Well,
they-
no, yeah. I think this is what's cool about the Game Awards is that you see real developers on stage.
Yeah.
The gamers don't necessarily get to see these people otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Unless like they somehow get the love of like marketing and they're like, okay, be on a trailer or whatever. But that rarely ever happens. So yeah, no, I just think it's just kind of funny to have like Lenny Kravitz just watching them accept this award.
No, you're
This
right.
is-
It
it's kinda
feels
wild.
it feels kind of wild and arbitrary, and like the disconnect could easily be there, right? Like they likely don't really know who Lenny is. So I get what you mean, and it just goes to show you some of the celeb guests that we try to bring into gaming to promote ourselves might not be a good match. I don't know though, because I don't know Lenny Kravitz well, and I haven't played Last Light yet, so who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? We're gonna get into the spicy ones now. These aren't
Yeah,
in
go
order
ahead.
of spice, but here is a spicy one. Best debut indie, and I'm gonna lump this with another one, which is best independent game. Oh, right. So here's the hot question.
What's indie, man? We
What's
don't know
indie?
anymore. We don't know. Game development has changed, so we have to redefine it. We have to
'Cause-
define it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I do not think Claire Obscure and their team
Is an
are
indie
indie.
And why do you not
and-
think that?
So okay, that's a good question because what factor do you consider? Because Yahtzee will has said before it's kind of like a senator in America said the same thing about porn. You can't define it, but when you see it, you know what it is. Like you can't define an indie, but when you look at it, you can tell. But if we were, I think that might be a bit of a cop out. I want to try and put it on specific things. Like if we talk about publisher, and budget and team size, I think those are
I
the
think
three
budget
factors.
and team size are very fair to talk about.
Okay. So the first one, let's talk about budget. So I don't necessarily think that the budget by itself is a defining factor of what can be considered an indie, because a team like Team Cherry, for example, who are also up for these awards, they are a team of 3 people, I believe, but have an obscene amount of money to pump into this game and an obscene amount of time because Hollow Knight 1 did so well. So they had effectively, for just those 3 people, an infinite amount of money to make the game. So, but that team is still indie because they're really small, but they have infinite money. So I don't necessarily think budget is a factor in that. Team size. Well, let's go, before I go on to team size, publisher. I don't necessarily think having a publisher is an indicator of whether you are indie or not, because Children of the Sun is a really cool FPS game that came out recently that was made by one person, and that was published by Devolver Digital, one of the biggest publishers in the world. So does a game made by one person having a publisher make it not independent anymore? I don't think so. But team size is where the kicker is. I think the size of the team is what pushes something from being indie into being AA. And then if you combine all of those 3 things, that even further pushes you through. So Claire Obscure, for example, had a budget of 10 million, had a publisher, and had a team size of 30 people, not including additional contractors and contracted companies and stuff like that. You are then pushing into AA. And I think the problem isn't that. I think everything is getting lumped into indie. If it isn't AAA, it's indie. And AA isn't given the recognition. And because of that, people aren't calling themselves AA. They're trying to put themselves in that indie light because it's viewed more favorably in comparison to triple.
Listen to how Jeff was talking about. I'm sorry to interject real quick.
Yeah,
but Jeff was talking about, like, oh, it's so nice to have so many games up here on stage that exist outside the traditional publisher game development model. And I think that's a good thing. Of course, if that's the sentiment, a lot of games are going to want to be categorized and considered that thing.
Yeah.
That's all I was going to say. Continue.
Yeah, and that's just what it is. Like this is mainly just on the best independent game. There are many other games that I believe deserved that for the amount of the scale of those games. Like, honestly, I think Hades 2 or Silksong should have won best independent because the scale of those games for the amount of people that worked on them is nuts. But then Hades 2 is pushing into the idea of they might be a bit AA. But we're splitting hairs. The main one is debut indie. I was really upset that Clair Obscur won Best Debut Indie because it was going up against a game that was one of my favorites of the year called Blueprints, which was made by one person who had never made a game before. That's and crazy. Made one of the biggest puzzle games of the year. And it was the first thing they'd ever made. That is a debut for me.
Yeah.
Clair Obscur is made up of a whole bunch of very, very talented, but ex-Ubisoft AAA people. Your company might be new, but I don't necessarily think this is like a debut, especially in indie. So I don't necessarily think I don't want to say it didn't deserve those. I think other titles deserved those wins more because of the scale of their teams, because of the nature of how they were made and stuff like that. But I don't think that's how these votes are made. I think they're basically just popularity contests.
Face value of the game itself and not considering everything around it.
Its actual development.
Which I think in an indie category, you should consider all of these other factors.
Because it's the most ambiguous, right? It's at this point a very ambiguous category.
Yeah.
I like the idea of considering it more like a team size. That might be the only true good indicator. Budget is like kind of a secondary
I don't think so anymore. And I say this only knowing that a lot of AAA devs that are making new studios are leaning on smaller team sizes, but then outsourcing a ton of their content, like arts, right? So they can say we're a small, lean team, but they're outsourcing like,
I can. If you're outsourcing, I count that as part of the team. Like that's why I think of Clair Obscur as 30 plus, not 30 people. Because
I think their budget alone should have not qualified them for indie. I'll just say that like with my whole heart, because they spent I think it was 8.8 million according to New York Times. And it is cheaper to make games out in France. Like the devs out there are paid significantly less than what an American game dev would make. I think there's a couple of reasons. Cost of living is a big factor, but
Euro game devs just don't make shit in general.
Yeah.
Japanese either. Apparently.
Yeah, so that alone, like it's more than one hand of millions, like that's not indie to me. Indie is, you're skimming through and skating by on a really lean budget. And this is not.
The problem is there are just so many factors that make a game in indie. And that's why I do kind of agree with Yatz's term of like, you can't necessarily concretely define it, but you know it when you see it, right?
Yeah.
If you see a game and I said this was made by one person or like 3 people, you're like, that's indie, right? Even if they had all the money in the world. But yeah, it's a tough one. We're not even through all of their awards. They just to quickly go over the last 2, they also got Best Art Direction, which I think it deserved. I think other games also deserved it, but if it was I think it was more of a coin flip. I think there's a whole bunch of other games that deserve that. And Jennifer English won Best Voice Actor. 100% deserved. Fantastic performance. Super emotional. Amazing performance. A lot of the other nominees, I will just say it, all of the other nominees in all of these categories also deserve to win. I don't think there was a clear standout in any of them. But yeah, it won a lot, and people have been very angry. I'm not necessarily angry. I think this whole fiasco just calls for some changes in how things are awarded. Not necessarily how they're voted on, but like And this is our last kind of topic of like some of the changes we'd like to see as developers at the Game Awards, because there are some categories that I would really like to see. I'd really like to see a more of a definition of what is indie, what is triple, and what is double, and having a middle category for like teams that aren't AAA but aren't indie, and like that in between. I think an actual award for that.
Best AA game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point where the term's too ambiguous, and even if we were to set something like, oh, this budget means this and this budget means that, or this team size means this and this is that, I think we just have to at this point, because it's so ambiguous that it could lead to something like this. And the example is exactly what you're saying. So I think we just have to make up a rule, at least as a part of an awards ceremony, where like indie is sub 10 people, sub $1 million, and that's it. Even if that overlooks certain things, we need a better rule, because right now it's worse. And then AA is between 5 and 10 million, and team size between, I don't know, 15 and 50 or something. And then anything above those numbers, that becomes AAA, and that's just going to have to be that or something. It's there needs to be some sort of rule there, I think, and it would mean more recognition for more people who deserve it.
Yeah, and I think that's what I want out of all of it, is like, I think it's wonderful that one game has won so many awards. I think that's really cool. But also, I guess this is because we're devs, but like I view this as a platform to show off many different things, and a way to show off like, hey, people who aren't really that into games, here is the spectrum of interesting games across the board, right? Here are some games you should pay attention to, and the developers you should be like watching for what's coming out next, as a way to like bring us all up together, rather than just be like, one game's won everything, even though maybe it didn't really deserve a couple of them.
It becomes a real circle jerk fest, and it shows some sort of like just some like personalized opinions, I think, of the judges. That's my interpretation. Again, it's not to say that like Clair Obscur wasn't a great game and the team doesn't deserve recognition. It's just like, I think even if you talk to them, they would probably agree. They would, if you got them down, if you were having drinks with them and you're at the Marriott or wherever and you asked them about it, I'm sure they would privately tell you, yeah, man, like we think it would have been nice if some of the other, they're probably a good team, and they're probably very humble. They seem very humble, but it is what it is. For me, it's like, sorry, Jay, were you finished? No,
I'm good.
I'm surprised there's not even a fucking FPS category for the Game Awards. Obviously, there's a lot of bias there.
Yeah, I think that just like the Oscars, it's like there's no best action film. There's no best money maker of the entire franchise, or like
it's something significant that happened this year, culturally speaking. Gaming culture, is that I think it was confirmed, like Battlefield has outsold Call of Duty for the first time ever, and both those franchises have existed for over 20 years. I'm pretty sure
in opposition with each other.
In opposition, they've been fighting. Yeah. I don't think initially they were much like Battlefield 1942 and Call of Duty 1 came out like relatively similar. It might have been like 2 years apart in 2001, 2002.
But they are competitors within the same genre.
But they're competitors, yeah. And to have an award show that is one of the, to some people, to lay people, let's say people who aren't gamers, this might be their only understanding of like what happened this year in gaming. Like the awards given and the words said on stage, and words said by Jeff Keighley, to have that happen and to not somehow show that best FPS was, let's say it was Battlefield 6, right? And we're only talking AAA FPS. Maybe we could have a best indie FPS. I don't know. There's my bias, but to not have any sort of recognition of that and to just give BF6 best sound, like that feels like a real fucking miss to me. That genre is so foundational for so many of the games that we play, and it's so big, and it feels almost like weird and pretentious to just say like, no, FPS games, they're not as elevated and nice and narrative focused like RPGs and these other ones. And you can kind of tell from looking at the panel of judges and the games that have won, like there's a bit of a single player bias that I think I'm seeing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so I just wanted to back you up on a couple of these points. So on the voting side, when I did vote for the VGAs, I was working at IGN and 1UP at the time. They would send an email and just say, hey, here are the categories. Here's what you can choose. Just send us an email back, and that's it, right? And it could be like a 5
a 1 to 5 minute thing for most journalists. And I think that at the time, like, there is, at least when I worked in game journalism, there was this like feeling of there's clearly the popular girl or game in the room, right? And you like feed into the hype, and it's like almost like a camaraderie of like, we love this one thing. And if you like a game that's outside of that, you do feel like an outlier in the office. And so there's not a lot of attention brought to the outliers, right? You see a lot of content that's like praising the thing that most people like, which is fine. But there is a hype thing there. And I don't know how you fix that as a VGA employee. Like, you are asking the right people for votes. Go ahead.
If I may, I think I have an idea of how to fix that.
Sure.
Make the players' votes matter more. If you look on the website, I think I mentioned this before.
Said 10%.
It's like 90% judge opinion, 10% player vote. I don't think that moved the needle at all. To have 10% of
10% is nothing. There's
like,
absolutely nothing.
I understand, like, you might have this perception, a judge or an organizer might have this perception of like, well, we don't want to just leave it up to the mob, because the mob can be subject to the exact kind of hype that, Tina, you're describing.
100%.
But maybe like 60-40, 30-70, 50-50, like, doesn't that feel like a little closer to how it should be? Because don't players' opinions actually matter a bit more, right? Than just this, like, the lobby of opinion havers. I mean, that's my perspective on it.
The other thing I will say is that this show is kind of tough in general to highlight a year in gaming, because so much of their focus and energy and time in the VGAs is put on the future of what gamers can expect, right? There's always a focus on the new thing rather than reflecting on the thing that's currently out now, which I think is kind of at odds with each other. Like, when you watch the Oscars, they're not like, here's the new trailer for like the new, you know, Spielberg thing or whatever. Here's Avatar 5, you know, like, and now let's award Avatar 3. You know, it just seems that in itself is a little odd, and like, they're not going to change that at this point. But I will say, to get back to the shooter argument that you have, I want to reinforce that shooters do deserve more respect in this award show, because they are the movers of significant change in our industry that I think a lot of gamers don't necessarily understand or appreciate, and don't have to. But I want to highlight one thing. So Fortnite became so freaking huge that even Sony and Microsoft could not ignore it. And they were the first game that truly brought cross-platform multiplayer to gamers. You could play on your PlayStation with your Xbox buddy and team up and have fun. Like, that does not happen with a small game. Like, Fortnite was so, I can't emphasize enough how huge this was for all of, you know, MP moving forward, that this was a huge barrier that they broke down for everybody. And I don't think that Epic gets their flowers enough for this, because that was pretty damn cool, right?
Epic have done a lot, and they get a lot of hate because of how popular Fortnite is with specifically annoying children. They have, like, not just in the genre space, but also just like, as you're speaking, with the cross-platform element and just like how they've monetized it. They've done a lot of good for the industry, and I agree with you. I don't think they get the flowers they deserve. But that's the thing. There's lots of games in a lot of different categories that are doing a lot for the genres that they're in, that aren't getting the recognition they deserve, because a lot of it just becomes this popularity contest. And I just saw in chat that the Indie Game Awards happened yesterday, and they limited a game to 2 awards, which is really interesting. And I think having more stricter rules for the VGAs is important, not just for how things are voted on, the breadth of the categories that are there, but also like strict rules on like what can be in said category, right? More rules there, so it makes more sense, because that's how we can spread the love out to lots of different types of games, which I think is just better for the industry as a whole, in my opinion.
Pretty good, easy house rule, right? 2 awards, that's it. Take your 2 awards and go home. Somebody else deserves some of that attention. And they would agree.
Yeah.
The recipients would all agree. So to me, it just seems like an honest oversight, right? And my hope is that it just gets better next year. Like the fact that people are upset with it. We do live in an age where people can get upset and change happens, right? Battlefield has seen that, Call of Duty even.
Yeah.
And why not here? So hopefully Jeff and the staff go like, you know what? Like, good point. Let's make a limit or something.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think that the Game Awards should look into having someone from the development side on their team to help emphasize the things and highlight the things that maybe gamers and viewers would really appreciate that maybe they're not even thinking exist, right? Like you guys mentioned a few, like the guy who made Blueprint. Maybe they don't know that detail, right? Or maybe...
But that changes it, right?
Yeah.
When you explain that, you go, holy shit, like that's crazy.
That's a huge feat. We should celebrate
It's a crazy feat. It's one of the most impressive I've ever seen, right? And I have my criticisms of that game. I think there are some design things that I would change. But like the fact it exists is just monumental. Like I think it deserves debut. And when you explain that, I think more people would come around. But it's once you put a very, very, very popular game that everyone loves, and justifiably so, I want to reiterate, I absolutely love Expedition 33. It deserves the love. But when you actually bring in the facts, it's like, okay, well, maybe this would get more votes now. But most people don't have that knowledge because...
Context. The judges probably
people don't have
that context.
Yeah, I think more game devs should be in charge of voting. I don't think it should be journos. Because I think journalists are good at understanding what's popular, but not necessarily good at understanding why things are popular and why things work the way they are. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a design boy, but I think more actual developer, like maybe if you win awards, you should have rights to vote on things, right? Like if your studio wins a game award, like the actual devs who have won then get spaces to be in the actual votes themselves, because who's better at saying, I think this was one of the best of my category than the people who have done it.
Game.
Yeah. And I think that's what Hollywood does in their award shows. The people that have worked on that genre of stuff,
as it should be.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't become the popular vote, because there's lots of, in the Oscars, there's lots of examples of movies that people thought were going to win because of how popular they were, but they don't because the more like technical feat or the actual like artistic element of it wins out. And I'm not defending the Oscars. Those things are weird and rigged and shit.
Sure,
but
that's fine.
Like they are doing some things better than the VGAs, in my opinion, because it just becomes this popularity thing. It becomes more about reveals, like you were saying. I got some data on the reveals, which is if you wanted a reveal at a minimum, apparently it was $450,000. And then if you wanted a 3-minute slot, it could exceed 1 million. Which is, games are just getting priced out now. Of like you aren't going to be able to have that stage to reveal your game, which just goes even further to be like, I think these smaller games that are doing interesting things deserve the platform of winning, because if you don't have like a multi-million-dollar budget, you are not going to be able to advertise your game on that stage. So get fucked. And it just makes it harder for these smaller games to actually succeed. And I don't like that, especially when some of the games being revealed are just like, why are we revealing a Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic game that only has a pre-rendered trailer? The dev team have only just formed. That game might not even come out, and it's getting this huge slot. What is having this advertisement 5 years before a game come out gonna do for like the sale of the game? It gets it into the zeitgeist and the hype, but you know, that could go to other games that are going to come out, like actually give them a chance to fight against GTA and everything next year. So I don't know. I got opinions, man. I got opinions.
I think I'm in the minority here, where I think that all the categories they won should be limited. in terms of Claire
Oh, what,
Obscure's
for
wins.
Expedition?
Yeah. I mean, it's not that game's fault that the VJs put him in best debut indie.
No, it's
I-
not
yeah.
the devs' fault whatsoever.
Yeah, so I don't know if limiting. I mean, I think the Game Awards on their side should limit where they should put games and where they see fit. But
Yeah, that's how it would have to happen, right?
Yeah,
Like it would have to be
yeah.
the organizers. It'd have to be Jeff and his team.
But I wouldn't
saying-
want, someone to vote like, oh, like if another game in the future sweeps everything, like GTA 6, you're not going to be like, let's take away best art direction because they win all these other things. That's not what you guys are saying. I just wanted to clear for listeners that that's
Yeah,
not what we're saying
100%.
either.
It's also like, to look at it cynically, I also think having, just like Lord of the Rings did, I think it was Return of the King that won the most Oscars ever at an award ceremony and rightfully so. Those movies are insane. It is a really good headline for an award ceremony to have a single product sweep and do incredibly well because it has their name in the title and it gets articles, which adds more advertisement for their thing, and they like that. So it's actually a benefit to them to have games dominate and do really well. And I'm not saying, oh, it was rigged in any way, shape, or form, but it's like they benefit from it as well. So they're not going to probably work against it and be like, no, we don't want games to do that. We don't want those headlines. So I doubt we'll see these changes.
Here's a question. And this is like very abstract and hard to answer. How big is the benefit of that? Like, I know it's not measurable exactly, but how significant of a nice headline is that to have X game won Y awards? How much more is that promoting the event? I feel like a lot of the channels where that's going to hit are people that are already aware enough of the award show and would be watching and tuning in anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have the data, but like I was away in England when dropped my phone when the awards happened. So I was looking at headlines and going through things, and the first ones you see if you just Google the VGAs is just like the sweep of Expedition 33 and how well it did, and that's a motivation for me to be like, okay, well, which ones did it read? Did it win? And then I go and read certain things. I then watch certain videos. I like dive deeper into it and stuff like that. But if it was like, oh, it won one. And I'm saying all of this with I have no measurable data for how much this could entice people to further look into the VGAs and the awards. But I was more interested to see what swept than I would be if I was just like, okay, let's just go through one IGN article of like who got what, and then okay, I'm fine. So I think there's something there, but I could be wrong. I have been known to be wrong.
Right. If only for the outrage that we were talking about earlier, right? Of like, what? It won that many awards. It didn't deserve it. And then you get engaged.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tina.
Yeah, 100%.
There's one thing that I think is interesting about being a voter for the Game Awards that maybe people don't know about. So when you're on the game journalist side and you're voting, it's not guaranteed that you played every single game in that category that you're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's interesting about like being in the Producers Guild for Hollywood, and I see how much access these people get to everything that came out so that they can make a better informed decision if they wanted to, right? In voting for something seems pretty significant. And I don't think that the judges get that kind of consideration either, right? So maybe Claire Obscure was like one of like 5 games that you covered or played for like your outlet.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Outliers, like this show happened because, you hear so much hype, you want to be a part of that, you play that, but you didn't necessarily play Blueprint.
Everything out, Blueprints, or maybe you skipped over Hades 2, or Silksong was too difficult for you. And blah,
maybe
blah, blah.
you didn't get that game for free as a game journalist because you're not making a ton of money when you're a game journalist, right? So it's like you have to physically pay for all of these games in order to vote for them properly and play through them. Like, I don't know if that consideration or time is given to the judges. And I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and that's why you maybe a smaller pool.
Right? The best way I think to mitigate that is make the players' voices matter more. It doesn't have to be all player voice. So you don't have to fully democratize it. It might be a good idea. It might not be. I don't know. But you could democratize it a little bit. And those players who are voting are like, just by volume, right, are going to be more likely to have actually played the game.
I think it could be its own category, right? I think player's voice could be its own thing.
I mean,
of,
for
like,
everything.
what is the player's? Yeah, I don't.
If we only have one
I think,
category, we have the same problem we already have, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think like if it was all up to popular vote, I think Clair Obscur would have swept in the same way because you get the same issue of people just. Wow, I think the gods are angry that I just was talking shit about Expedition 33.
heard something outside.
Loudest thunder I've ever heard. Crazy.
Here's a question for you, Jay and Mikey.
Hmm.
So let's say you are a game that's nominated for an award, like an indie
Yeah.
debut, right? Do you have the physical funds as the creator to actually give a bunch of free copies to judges in hopes that you'll get the award? Or is it worth your time and effort too? Because like that kind of is tough too, because AAA games, they can print out codes and that's not really going to hurt their bottom line as much as like, let's say,
I feel like that's
a indie
something.
game.
If we're to do something like this, like if we're to do an award show, I feel like you have to make sure all the judges at least own copies. It's unfortunately not like a movie where all it takes is 2.5 hours and you could just sit still.
But that
and do
has a
nothing.
real cost to indie devs who already are pinching.
Shipping out
does,
digital
but
copies
devs
of a game.
So they already do that. So why? Well, the one benefit I think of having games journalists, and I don't like to think of myself as one, but I am, in a way.
Yeah.
We are getting these codes anyway. Every game company under the sun, unless they're big AAA ones, are attempting to just throw codes at us because they're hoping that we will make a video about it. Because giving me one copy of your game, I could make a video on it and it will get 50 to 100,000 views, which is like great advertisement for that game, right? It's free advertisement. So they're not losing any money from that, but we don't cover every single game. But like they're just hoping and they're throwing their codes at every single journalist they possibly can, every YouTuber.
Yeah, and it costs
just
nothing,
in hopes
right,
that
to
they'll do
generate
it.
a code.
So they're
What'd
already
you say,
doing that.
Mikey? It costs what?
It costs nothing. It's easy to generate codes for your game on Steam or just give it,
I think it
direct
costs
download
something
copy.
on Xbox and PlayStation, right?
Does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I
But
think if you're on PC, if you're on Steam, it doesn't really cost anything, I would imagine.
yeah,
but
Steam's free, but
You just could have
others
got a
aren't.
sale, right?
I don't know
So-
about Xbox or PlayStation. Yeah, sure, could have gotten a sale, but given like the importance of what we're talking about here, right?
That
Game awards
advertisement,
and
yeah.
nominations and stuff, and the fact that like we're talking about a small lobby of people at the end of the day of journalists, it feels worth it to me to just make that expense. Or fuck, maybe the Game Awards just buys them for the judges. They're already they're taking in millions. They could spare. God, would it be like a few $100s tops to get a bunch of these games in people's hands?
yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I think the same goes for
Maybe
like
they
the
already
DICE
do that
awards
for
and
all I
everything else, though. I don't know if you get free copies of the games that you're voting on.
Someone
It'd be good
in
if
the
you
chat,
did.
Someone in the chat says, Beatmaster says, you won't find a flawless solution for a subjective assessment system either way. I mean, that's
Sure,
true.
but you can make
like,
improvements. You
exactly,
can endeavor
yeah,
to
yeah.
try to make
You
it
can
better.
advocate for it.
Yeah.
And I'm
we
just
can't-
pointing
I-
out that this is potentially one big flaw, is that the judges may not have necessarily had the time or even the game itself to actually vote on everything in that category effectively.
Yeah. And playing a video game and like understanding what it is takes a lot of effort. Like I could easily imagine them booting up blueprints and saying like, I don't get it. And then stopping.
Yeah.
And being like,
I'm sure a
well,
lot of
Clair
people do.
Obscur was super good anyway because I like Final Fantasy. Like that's it. That's their vote. And that kind of sucks. We have to hope that that sort of thing doesn't happen. But there's a very real problem with the medium where it's like it's hard to judge a game unless you play it a certain amount and unless you have a certain amount of knowledge and dexterity and all these other things to play a video game.
But I do think it's an extremely fair and effective criticism and feedback to say, hey, the devs that are involved in these categories probably should have some sort of say at some point if you want to get a more accurate read on what is the best in that genre that year.
I like that idea a lot. Yeah. I mean, they already have former award winners because the Nicholas Doucet. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He was the studio director, game director of of Astrobot, studio director and creative director, and he awarded the Game of the Year one. They have those connections. They ought to do something like that. Why not have him be a judge too for the next Game of the Year instead of just journalists?
Yeah. The bottom line for me is just I think every aspect of it should be stricter. I think the voting should be stricter with a smaller pool of people who are knowledgeable of those specific awards that are being given, and I think the actual categories themselves should be stricter in the sense of what is being awarded for best indie, like what is an indie, make that stricter, but then give more breadth within the actual awards themselves to account for things like FPS games, other majorly popular genres that aren't really getting recognition and stuff like that.
The one other thing I wanted to mention that I think that the industry does in Hollywood very effectively that is not done in games is that the people that are nominated, or the game movies that are nominated, do have these events and they invite people to come where they get like the directors and actors to talk about their experience in the movie, or like how much effort it took to get something done. I went to one for Sinners, and they went into detail about casting and stuff. So you actually get the context to understand why a movie deserves a particular award, right?
Yeah.
Like I wish maybe, in the future, like an indie dev, like on Blueprints could say, hey, I'm nominated for a VGA. I'm going to make a video and put it on YouTube about like who I am, introduce myself to the audience, why I think you should vote for me, or like why, I'm a one-man show, like, and give the context that's actually missing. I think that could be cool too.
I think that would be great. But like with how things are voted on now, where you described it as just an email and you just fill it out and send it off, like a lot of people within that could be missed, but at least there would be the attempt to get that attention. And I think because the gaming industry is so widespread, it's harder to have people, like you said, this is really good for Hollywood when a lot of people are in the same space and you can invite people to events. It's very difficult when 60% of the people who are voting are all in Europe,
different parts of the world.
The East Coast.
You can make like a
like
live
that.
stream or like a YouTube video that people can watch back later.
100%, yeah.
You know
and then
mean?
It could be a
I think that could be
testimonial
cool.
thing. Right,
Yeah.
the Blueprints dev, the Claire Obscure devs, everybody gets
let's
to
give some
have
behind
somebody
the
at their
scenes on
studio.
some of these audio teams that made, that got nominated and like what did they go through, and
It's 5 minutes long. Maybe it's necessarily candid, like it can't be produced. It has to just be a straight read, like you're doing an interview, and you
like
say, "My name is so and
production.
so. We were nominated for X, and here's what that was like." And Blueprints dev can say, direct to journalists, like, "I'm by myself, and this is my first game." Because for all we know, like based on what you're saying, Tina, about how you've experienced it, they might have simply been completely ignorant of the fact that Blueprints was made by one person.
No, absolutely.
And that's not their fault.
That happens
Having
a
that
lot.
ignorance is not their fault as well.
And I think that happens all the time.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Let me just take a...
Do you think GTA 6 is going to sweep everything next
year? I'll consider that when it comes out.
We'll see. Yeah.
They keep delaying it.
I said this in a show. I don't know if you were there, Tina. I have a memory of you being absent. I'm a little suspicious of what's going to happen there with GTA 6. Obviously, like it's tremendously hyped, and it's a storied studio, and it's a great franchise, right? But I mean, if you look at the way GTA 5 was and is, there's a lot of stuff there that just like won't fly nowadays. And I don't just mean like the sensitive stuff as far as like writing and comedy. Obviously, that's like a question mark for a lot of people. But besides that, just some of the design stuff they do, like can GTA 6 get away with GTA 5 style combat if it's just a little bit innovative with all the higher standard that has escalated since 2013 or whenever it was 5 came out. There's also the fact that like their multiplayer is like very sort of mobile designed, and it has a lot of flaws there. Like, have they learned that they can't do that, or will the mainstream be okay with that? Like, are they going to be misled into thinking that's a good design that will work with the rest of the audience? Because I don't think it will. Basically, I'm very suspicious of how well it's going to do. Also, just for the fact that because it's so hyped, look at what's happening now to games that get hyped up. gamers are pessimistic, and we'll see. I mean,
think that GTA is always, well, not always, but it's going to be a behemoth of a game. It's going to
Yep.
destroy absolutely everything and anything around it. It doesn't matter how much content or little content or how much innovative or lack of innovation there is. It's just going to fucking wreck everything. And I think a lot of people are going to buy it no matter what, because it is GTA. And they are
sure. But I'm
brilliant
not
in the
talking about
fact
sales.
that one game comes out every, 8 to 10, 15 years, right? So like the hype internally always just kind of builds up as a gamer. You're like, oh my God, I just want the new thing. Because so many people are playing GTA 5 online. Like so many people.
I've played a horrific amount of GTA 5 online.
Yeah. And if they don't change a damn thing, I think other than like the new art assets, like and the music.
I don't know, man. I don't agree with.
Dude,
Are you sorry? Let me not cut you off.
I'm a redneck and I get to fight a crocodile, that's going to be enough innovation for me, okay?
That's a great accent, Tina, and well delivered. But
I just think that they get.
I mean, if you played GTA Online recently, it's a rough experience, man. And people did react negatively to the enhanced edition, or whatever
it's
called.
not going to be the peak of quality and innovation. I think that it just has a huge player base, and it's just going to wreck everything.
The amount of normies that play GTA is crazy.
I would not be surprised if GTA 6 had a lot of negative. I'm not talking about sales, by the way. I think they're probably going to make a shitload of money, more money than God. But I'm talking about critical reception. I would not be too surprised if they had some really big missteps with these examples, like their combat design, with their multiplayer design, with some of the narrative and the writing. Maybe, I don't know yet. But I think that we have to remember that hype is very deceptive. And all we really know is that GTA is a big franchise and people are hyped for it. This is the longest gap they've ever had. GTA 4, I was looking it up to be sure. GTA 4 came out in 2008. GTA 5 came out in 2013. So that's like a decent gap, right? 5 years. Now we're coming up on what, like 12 years since GTA 5 came out?
People are hungry.
And like people are hungry, but also their expectations have only gotten higher. The positive engagement of negative video content and critical content is so strong. Like I just would not be surprised if people had a lot of problems once the rubber hits the pavement.
Yeah, 100%.
See, I just don't think
I'm in between both of you.
Much.
Yeah, I'm between. I agree that I will have a bunch of design criticisms of the game, as I have design criticisms of GTA 5. And I don't think there will be a huge amount of innovation. I think it will be GTA 5, but with a new coat of paint. But I do think that the general audience will be fine with that. They'll just be like, that's what I want, right? And there's part of me where that's just what I want. I want GTA 5, but it looks better in a new location and it plays slightly better. Then I'm happy. But there's also a part of me where I'm like, where's the innovation? Where's the innovation? But I don't think they're really worried about that. They're worried about just polishing it up so that they're not trying to excite us. The dev heads, they don't give a fuck what we think. They care what Billy Bob thinks. Yeah,
But let's give ourselves credit. Not even give ourselves credit. Let's consider the way which we are forming our opinions here and being subjective. We are trying to be critical. We're trying to step outside of our own opinions. And all I'm saying is, like, it's been a long ass time. Someone in the chat says, are really putting the ability of Rockstar to cook in question. It's more about like the risk is only getting higher given the climate, given what the series is, given the big gap in between, and how our expectations only increase. Look at fucking Starfield. Look at how our expectations of RPG games changed before Starfield came out. Starfield came out, and a lot of people went, like, this is just kind of the Elder Scrolls thing again. And people weren't having it so much, critically speaking. And even with their sales. That's kind of the effect that I'm a little bit suspicious of happening.
Yeah. The difference for me is that Rockstar have been historically and consistently good at what they do. They might not be like genre boundary pushing, but like they are extremely good at what they do. Bethesda have been repeatedly terrible at what they've been setting out to do. So like I knew Starfield was going to be shite from the first trailer. I could just smell it. It stank. But like GTA 6, I'm like, ooh, and I think
Okay.
most of the general
man.
audience are like that.
Hey, to be clear here,
My dream job would be to work
hold
on
hold
GTA as like someone who's just trying to find source material for their fucking game.
Just like
crazy
weird
shit on the
TikToks and
internet.
Vines and stuff.
Just
Like
fucking
weird,
scrolling
like
TikTok
people
all
of
day.
Walmart
Hey,
kind of
artist,
shit.
hey, art team.
Yeah.
Look, this
Yeah.
guy's
Oh,
eating
that's a
poop
great
on
job.
TikTok.
That's a
and
great
he's
job.
standing on top of a van.
Sorry,
Here,
sorry.
put that in the
I
trailer.
derailed this
It's
conversation.
fine.
What
It's
were we
fine.
going to say, Mikey?
I did want to say this. Like, I'm ready to eat my word. Again, this is just a suspicion. All right, I'm not trying to do that
I think
as a
it's founded.
cop out. Like, nobody knows, and I genuinely don't know. And I really like GTA 5. I've played a bunch of the online play. I'm very annoyed by the interface. If that still exists, that would really suck. But there's a lot of merit to it. I like it. There's the issues I have with the writing, not for even for sensitivity, but for like other reasons. I just I'm ready to be wrong though if all that stuff improves, and I'm not expecting like a grand innovative game. I'm fine if the combat and the driving is mostly like it already was. I really hope they do something innovative with the multiplayer at least, because I don't actually think too many people will go for what's there now, even if they improve the interface. But I'm ready to be proven wrong, and I'm probably going to enjoy it regardless.
I am gonna play with you. I'm gonna talk like a redneck the whole time. I'm gonna drive drunk.
So
Oh
good.
yeah,
I'm gonna run.
I'm gonna
into
drive
randomly-
drunk.
I'm
Can
gonna
we
drive
clip
into
that,
a
please?
swamp. It's
Clip
gonna
that.
be
Clip
so
that with the
much
stuff about
fun.
the Titanfall 2 devs as well.
I will happily play with you, Tina, and I'll enjoy it.
Treasure
You
trove.
look like I'm one of those people, like I could have a negative opinion about a game but still play it and have fun with it. And many gamers are like that.
Yeah.
For sure. For
Can
sure.
we bring up one thing though that I think is important for the future of gaming that's not being talked about too much right now? Price of RAM.
Oh no, we can't touch on that. The AI apologists are going to come into the chat and start ripping us apart.
Let's do it.
Speaking of AI and Claire Obscur, did you guys see what happened today with them?
Yeah.
They announced that they,
And
for people who
Larian.
don't know, they announced, and Larian said, hey, we're using we use some AI in the game, but not too much. I think Larian said specifically it was for art concepting.
Concept art. Yeah.
And then people are upset about that, of course, but they're also doubly upset because apparently Claire Obscur didn't disclose it in their Steam page that they used AI.
I think it was a placeholder texture that got fell through the net,
Replaced.
and then they replaced it. So I think it's not necessarily something, and I think Larian have also clarified that they're using generative AI as like springboards for reference. So like to quickly generate reference images to then use in like a mood board of things to then create the actual concept art rather than just using generative AI. It's a very complicated
And
subject.
I'm not talking shit here, by the way, to be clear. We could get into it, but I think that there's a lot of nuance to that issue, and I don't necessarily fault Larian or Claire Obscur for using it, especially in the concepting phase, because it is a pretty useful tool. But I do understand the other perspective, the other side, which is, well, you are pulling other people's work. It's just obscure how much you're using it. And I get a good
Claire
frustration
Obscura.
there.
Claire
or
Obscure,
whatever.
but then like
I heard it right
using
after I said it.
generative stuff in the game is I think is inexcusable. I think using generative AI art inside of a game, as in like as your art piece, should be a crime.
This should not be a dev heads ending topic. I feel like
Yeah,
we
no,
should
we should.
dedicate.
This will be the
I
first
wanted to
episode of the
mention
year.
I wanted to mention it just because it was relevant to the public
No,
perception
yeah,
of Claire Obscur.
I agree.
It felt relevant. You're right. Let's not get into it. It's sensitive. We both have nuance.
All right,
We all have nuance.
I'll read out this dono we got, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, it's Bees Marsh, $5, and says, I'm much more excited for GTA 6's story, and as someone who lived in Miami, criticism of Florida and the USA causing mayhem, and the radio stations. Yeah, I think there's lots of things to be looking forward to with that game. As I said earlier, I hope all games are good. And I hope they all succeed because I want fellow devs to have jobs and I want us all to have fun.
How could you say something so bold and yet so brave? Thank you.
I know. I'm trying to get clicks, Mikey. That's why.
Oh my god!
All
trying to
video
get clicks.
games should be good. Thank you.
Yeah.
This was
Right.
fun,
So
guys.
thank you
That
so
sounds
much.
like a quote from a famous philosopher. You took that, didn't you? That must have been something
I
only
did.
a learned, educated man said, and you're just stealing his work.
Yeah, because that's all I can do is I just regurgitate other people's really cool phrases just in a row. I'm
The
a
other
reference
big
machine.
highlight I wanted to bring up was the Marathon art director. The news broke yesterday
Oh, yeah.
that he left the project. which is interesting because
yes.
the game ships in March. So I don't know what's
Yes.
going on there. It's rare
Well,
that like someone at that level in a studio just
leaves right before the lead game designer left. I think 2 or 3 months before Battlefield
This guy?
2042.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just giving another example of like
I
when
see.
that happens, it seems to be indicative of a project not going well. I think there were of course the Halo Infinite directors that kept leaving. So we'll see what happens there.
My opinion is, and I'll keep this short and sweet, I think they should have been let go when the whole stolen art fiasco happened. They should have resigned. They were the whole team was pushing off the blame to this person that no longer worked at the place or previously worked, but it was so integral to their entire vision of the art. I don't believe any of that. And if you have a massive plagiarism issue in your art, I think the head of that department should resign. And maybe it's a good thing that they've left. Maybe Marathon will be better for it. Or maybe not. Maybe it's going to be a shit show. I want all games to be good and for us all to have fun and us all to have jobs. That is a quote from Johnny Expedition.
As Jean-Jacques Rousseau once said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want all video games to be good. But of course, he was only quoting Kant.
Yeah. What a Kant.
Wait, were they, hold on. Who was alive first? Jean-Jacques Rousseau or Immanuel Kant? I don't know.
What'd you call me?
You goofball.
Your man's a cunt? What?
Jean-Jacques Rousseau died.
Are we going to
in
be playing over the
1778.
holiday break?
Yes.
Are we going to play something together?
I was
still
in like
need to-
together. Yeah. Let's do it.
I still want to play Arc Raiders. I really want to do that.
Let's actually
I need
set that up
friends.
because I haven't got it yet. So let's
need
get that and let's experience that.
I need friends. As a
do
woman,
it.
Tina, we're
gamer,
always here for you. I've
I don't
wanted to play
have many
Battlefield
friends
6
to
with
play
you for
with.
months.
Oh yeah, I played with Ryan the other night. By the way,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So Battlefield 6 has this pretty chill mode where when you're like in your 40s or older and you're playing, you don't want to play against the sweaty young people, so they have a mode where you can play against AI and a mixture of like
Casual
real
breakthrough.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're like, let's jump on that because my
Why are you
clickety
red
click
now?
finger is
Here,
not
yeah,
as
click my
fast as it
fingers
once
here.
was, and I still get some like headshots, and I'm like, woo,
Well, my index is
Ooh.
slow.
with my index finger.
My index is in slow. Put me on the slow index mode. Yeah.
They ain't so bendy no more, are they?
Yeah, I've got them stiff indexes.
And I love how they
thank-
tell you in the mode that it's either a bot or real person. They imply it through the
Yeah.
UI, and when it's a bot,
Yeah.
I'm like, you motherfucker! Like I thought it was.
I
Fuck,
know.
I feel
You
like
think
I'm
like,
the real
wow,
man.
I'm fucking slaying bodies. And it says bot there.
But when
All
you
right,
do get a
Eric.
real person, it feels that much better. So like,
That-
Oh, yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
kudos to Battlefield 6 for that.
Thank you, BS Marsh. Rousseau was older and died earlier. I saw that
Boom.
from the Google. Thank you.
Boom.
Forgive me. I got totally philosophical history owned.
Eric is doing the exclamation mark on all of our
Eric's-
names.
Eric's
He's
playing us
literally
out
telling
like
us
an
to wrap
awards
up.
show.
Okay, I gotta
He's
go.
like,
I have a
yeah.
hard
He's
out
like,
right now.
please wrap this up. Thank you, Everett. All right, we'll do the award speech wrap up. Thank you. I'd like to thank my mother and all the patrons and supporters of Second Wind and watchers of DevHeads.
Best RPG.
Oh no,
Please.
it's been snubbed. Wrap it up, Jay. I'm trying. Thank you so much for watching. This was the last DevHeads of 2025. We will see you.
If you want to see us online, just message us in the Discord channel, the DevHeads Discord on Second.
Yeah, then
Wind.
we'll just turn our
We'll be
webcams
there.
on.
I'll chat. Oh yeah, can we stream something just like for the?
Yeah, we'll
fun of it?
see.
fun.
We're meant to be on holiday.
Okay.
We'll see. We can play stuff casually. We might stream. We'll see. Hey, I've got to wrap it up or Eric's going to rip his hair out. Thank you so much
Bye,
for watching,
everybody.
guys.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays, and we'll see you in the new year. Bye-bye.
Happy.